All right, hello everyone. Today is May 9th. My name's Brian. Welcome to my first video on my weight loss journey. I'm doing a journal. I'm gonna log my progress, talk about how I'm going about it this time. I am 38 years old. currently 253 pounds. High weight was 300. I'm 5'7", so my goal weight is to be, I would say right now it's under 200, but we'll see where this goes. I've lost weight a bunch of times, so the reason why I'm making a YouTube channel for this, just to log my progress, keep me accountable, but also I've lost weight a bunch of times and seems like there's a lot of opinions on YouTube, and so every time I've lost weight, I've learned something and failed at it. So I want to share kind of my strategy, what I'm eating, how I'm exercising, everything I'm doing, and why. Like maybe something that I failed in the past and the way I'm fixing that in order to make the weight loss a lifestyle, which I think for most people, weight loss is actually pretty easy. It's the keeping it off part that is difficult. So the way I'm going about this is I'm using discipline and planning, and not as much willpower, but I'm going to lean into willpower when I have it. So to go further on that, so in the past, probably how I gained the weight was by eating a lot of fast food and essentially closet eating, which like a lot of eating in my car, going to fast food places, getting way more than you would ever eat in front of somebody else, because it's embarrassing to eat that much, and so I'm stopping that altogether. Basically, ways I've failed in the past: I have gone too hard at the start, maybe got a bunch of healthy food that maybe cost too much money, and then go in over my head and fail, lose motivation, like the ways that everyone fails at diet. Maybe going way too hard in the gym and overtraining. So I'm going to share just some of the ways that I'm trying to mitigate that. So I'll start with the diet. I've come up with 4 tiers of meals that I'm going to plan on eating. And this is going to make it so that I'm not restricting what I can and can't eat. However, when I am motivated, I can lose weight fast and stay motivated, if that makes any sense. So I've kind of come up with some working title names for these meals. So maybe these stick and maybe they don't. Maybe you guys do sort of the same thing. But I definitely wanted, part of the reason why I wanted to make this channel was so that I could write this down on paper, and at the end of this journey, share with you guys like this strategy, because I feel like I've pulled from multiple times of, doing fad diets and losing weight successfully and unsuccessfully. I've pulled so many different things together from those different strategies of eating to come up with a way where I don't have to restrict foods or, feel like I'm not living, essentially. So the first main meal is what I'm going to call the staple meal. This is going to be a strict, low calorie, low fat, low carb, strictly protein and vegetables, essentially. this is when I'm going to be eating lunch at work. This is what I'm going to be eating like alone when there's nothing going on. I'm going to be eating like this. And when I'm motivated, I'm going to be eating like this. Like, I noticed when I'm motivated to lose weight that I'm pretty much willing to kind of eat pretty bare bones and low calorie, and I don't care if I'm missing out on foods. Which brings me to the second tier of this, which is what I would call a craving curbing meal. So a craving curbing meal is a healthy way to make something that curbs a certain craving that you might have. So, and I'm going to share these recipes on this channel when I eat them. But basically, when the staple meal, when I'm kind of sick of it and I'm craving something like, say, pizza or tacos, or, something that can be healthy, I'm going to make the healthiest version of it possible, and I'm going to control it by cooking it and counting the calories. And it's going to basically be essentially the same calorie count as a staple meal. The reason for doing this is when those staple meals become redundant and boring, and you have just had enough, and you're feeling hungry, and you feel like you want some sort of food like a pizza or a taco, this is going to be able to curb that craving, and you are not going to really feel like you cheated. So those two are like the two main things that I'm going to be doing. Now, after that, there's a third one, which would be like a controlled cheat. A controlled cheat is maybe like you are either going out, like, so me and my girlfriend will go out to like a bakery, and sometimes the bakery will have, or a coffee cafe or whatever, they'll have the calorie counts. So I can have whatever I want, but I'm counting the calories. Or say we go to a restaurant and I can't count the calories, I will choose a meal that I know that I can kind of ballpark, or that's a healthy food choice, but I'm still going out, I'm still like eating, I'm not restricting like what I can have. But it's either or. It's either the calories are on it and I can count them, or they're not, and I choose good food choices. That's a controlled cheat for me. So it's gonna fit in the calories. I'm trying to stay under 2,000. That's just like, I'm with these two first tiers, I'm making sure that I am counting the calories, so that this fourth tier is going to be basically a full-on cheat. We're going out, I'm gonna have whatever I want. Now, in that scenario, I'm going to make sure that if I do eat something that day before then, I'm either fasting, not eating until, and I'm gonna just splurge and go all out, or the meal that I'm going to have is going to be a staple meal. It's going to be a meat and vegetable to curb my hunger. Maybe we're going to a pizza joint. Maybe we're going to Korean barbecue, which honestly is pretty healthy anyway. But you're trying to eat as much as you can at a hot pot place. So, like, essentially, like, that full-on cheat is going to be controlled by fasting, because I know that just me being conscious of it, I'm not going to go over my calories on the week on one meal. And this is going to be from time to time, because I'm not going to restrict living, for trying to lose 60 to 80 pounds. I'm not going to restrict myself completely. And I think that's what I've done wrong in the past, is I would go balls to the wall on something, eat salads and turkey breast the entire time, and fast my balls off, and then be just burnt out in like a month or 3 months or however long it took. I have a lot of willpower, so I can do these staple meals for quite a long time before I feel it. But like I said, these craving curbing meals I think are really valuable, and I learned that when I lost weight before, counting my calories. I know that if I restrict carbs and or fat, that I'm gonna lose weight. Like, it's not, so when I have days where I'm only eating staple meals, like, the progress is gonna be fast. So my goal is to make it fast enough that I don't lose motivation, while at the same time if I do feel something, a lack of motivation, that I have a plan in order to curb that. So that's what I'm doing as far as diet. And I'm sure there'll be questions about it. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people asking me, why am I not doing some keto or whatever it is, or, you know, carnivore or vegan or some other bullshit. I've done all that shit. It doesn't work. Restricting foods doesn't work. And I'll explain why. When those questions pop up, I'll definitely make videos explaining why. At least why it didn't work for me. I've tried all the fads, even the most recent ones, like the eating Sour Patch Kids and shit. It's all bullshit. Coming up with plans for plans, that's what is the way to go, especially for someone like me who, when I don't have a plan, I will stop at that fast food joint and I'll get 3 burgers and I'll slam them. Like, it just doesn't, I need the plan. So moving on, exercise. I'm trying to walk. That's basically it. Like, and I have a rowing machine and some heavy resistance bands. So I'm going to work with those, but in the past, like I said, I have overtrained and overdid the working out to the point where it wasn't sustainable for my lifestyle. So I'm only going to implement exercise when there's a stall, exercise when there's a stall, and when I'm feeling like I want to do more exercise. So I'm ramping the exercise up as I'm feeling better and better, because when you lose weight, you start to feel better. When you get motivated, you start to feel better. You have more energy. When you eat right, you have more energy. So I'm going to let that naturally happen. I'm going to let the exercise naturally come into my life. And I'm obviously going to try to do more walking and more hiking. You know, I have my dogs. I'm going to take them for walks. I'm going to try to get, eventually I'm going to try to get down and do some calisthenics. But, I believe with the amount of protein that I'm going to be eating that I'm going to be maintaining my muscle, and I'm pretty strong. So I'm not too worried about that. I just want that to maintain it for my lifestyle. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is why I'm not doing something like a weight loss drug or something like that to do this. Well, have you guys seen the prices of shit? It's fucking insane. So, excuse my language, but it's insane. So, last I checked, eating less is cheaper and not eating is free. So why would I spend $150 to not eat? Like, why would you do that? Especially when I've developed the knowledge, I have the power, I have the willpower, I've done it before. Like, now I'm not saying that these things, I've seen other people take these things and it works for a lot of people, but it's just not my mindset. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, I'm not going to do the weight loss drugs thing. I have friends that have done it, and that's fine. I'm not dogging on them at all. It's just not in me to do that, to spend money to not eat. I'm like, and also I'm going to avoid fasting too hard, because before I've done that, where I've fasted for 2 or 3 days, and then, the willpower can only last for so long, and then eventually, like, you're gonna binge. I'm not going to go out and get organic, overpriced food. I'm actually gonna try to save money doing this. That's a whole nother goal. I'm actually gonna try to save money doing this. That's another reason why the drugs aren't in the cards for this. So that's it. That's my plan for this YouTube channel. Thank you for following or watching. You could subscribe or follow me or like this video if you want to see more, or comment if you have any questions about what I'm doing. I would love to have some ammo to make more videos. And sorry that I'm terrible at talking to the camera. I'm just getting started at this, and I do want to eventually make content for my music studio. I need to get better at doing that. So that's another reason why I made this channel, so that I can get used to talking to the camera and editing video. So yeah, if you like it, comment, subscribe. I will mention that a lot of these strategies I've learned from Cole Robinson, the snake diet guy, and he's doing the vegetables and the meat thing, and he's done a lot. He's done all the fads, and that's why I've followed all that stuff. And so, what's funny is that he went, did this about a year ago, and I was losing weight on it, and then he started on this sugar diet thing, and then I went on that, and then basically failed and gained like 20 pounds back. So yeah, like, I'm glad that he's back on this kind of protein, focused eating. And I'm taking some of those strategies with my staple meals. Essentially, that's what I've come up with is essentially what he's pushing, which is like meat and vegetables, canned, like cheap shit, maybe some sardines or fish, like just lean meat and vegetables. And that's a great lunch for me to have, because I don't feel bloated after. So yeah, a shout out to him, and shout out to a couple of the other guys I've been watching. Local Al, he's been a good one too. He's kind of who motivated me as well, just watching his videos to start this. So shout out to him. Give him a follow if you see this, and hopefully we like grow this community of people losing weight and learning, having this learning experience. So thank you very much. Have a good one. See you next time.